Hi everyone, this is Matt with Juice Technologies, and I'm going to talk to you guys today about Easy File Importer versus the native QB import process. Now, one of the questions we get all the time is what is the difference between Easy File Importer and that native import process, and why would I choose Easy File Importer over that? So since we get this question all the time, we thought it'd be a great video topic. So anyone familiar with Quickbase's native Excel import process knows that it does serve its purpose for simple single spreadsheets. However, there are several roadblocks that come up, and in the more complex use cases, many people need to turn to Easy File Importer. And today we're going to review some of those roadblocks you may be having, and you can then decide if Easy File Importer is the right tool for you. So the first thing I'm going to be mentioning today is pre-mapped fields. So anyone who's used that importer through Quickbase knows that there's several ways where you can do the import. So I'm actually going to show you guys on this screen here the import process. So I'm in the employees table, I'm hitting import. And I'm going to import into a table from a file. And you can choose the selected table. It already knows employees. It already knows that we're doing it for a single record merge field is the record ID. And then we're going to choose the file that we want. So we're going to choose an Excel file here. And I'm going to hit the import process. Now, one of the things it does is it estimates what fields it believes these columns belong to. So first name right, last name right. Employee ID, that's actually not correct. So the employee ID is really that's supposed to be the I think salary. So let's double check. Let's open up that spreadsheet rather than me guessing. And the employee ID is actually employee number, which is phone number. So even though we have 999, et cetera there, you can see that we have some real phone numbers there. The next one we have as ID, that's really the employee ID, and that one it marked as salary. And then we have salary, which clearly is a currency field there. That brought in job title. And then for the last one, that put contact, which really should be where employee ID is. That one should be the job title. So you can clearly see that it does do its best to estimate what these column headers are going to be. But in a lot of use cases, if you're getting this spreadsheet from someone outside of your organization, the field names are not going to match exactly what the column header has. So that's one of the biggest things is you have to go through and have manual intervention every single time you're going to do this import process, which requires either an end user to know exactly what those fields are, or it's going to take a lot of time for someone to figure that out as they put this all together. So that's just one bottleneck, the first one, pre-mapped fields. Now, the second one is multiple spreadsheets. So one thing you may notice from that spreadsheet I showed you before is we actually have multiple sheets here. So this is employees and employee assets. So, an asset, it might be a laptop, a microphone, a headset, the hard drive, whatever it might be. So you have a bunch of different employee assets here. So we want to bring in both of these sheets. And the only way to do this right now is potentially to separate this out. It could be a whole long manual tedious process. And you also have to make sure that there's individual related fields or identifier fields that can help you kind of get the employee assets to be related to the employees. And that's not necessarily easy to do with this native import process, but it is with Easy File Importer. So let's go take a look at the Easy File Importer demo now. And if you guys want to check this out yourselves, we do have our master demo application, which has a link directly to this, and you can go find that on our website very easily. But what you're going to want to do today is you're going to take the employee with asset test file, which we have open here. And what you're going to do is it's very simply, you're going to just take a look at the configuration details. We're going to go over this in a moment, but you're just going to want to add the import file, very similar to what you would have done with the import process. So you're going to hit this green button, add import file, and it's just going to ask you to choose a file. This is a normal file attachment field, and we're going to choose that same file that we used prior, and we're going to hit save and close. Now, what we just did is we're actually going to add records from the Excel file from the employee assets table, and we're also going to add the employee information. So you're going to see not only is the employee information going to update, but also all of the employee assets are going to get added. So when I jump back to where I was and to see import run details, you're going to see at this time that we were able to complete the import process where we updated 13 records and 10 records. And you can actually see all of the related employee records that we updated here as well. So you could see this date modified right here, that 5/1/2024 at 4:14 p.m. That was just 1 minute ago. So all of these records all came directly from this Excel sheet. And let's just pop over and let me hit refresh. and you'll see all the employee assets also just got added with all of their related employees as well. So if I click into the related employee, I can see all of its information, and you can see that employee's asset data. So really cool, really easy. That's just a quick demonstration of what it's going to look like after you finish. But what I want to also show you today is kind of how we pre-map those fields, and that's where things are different than the native import process. So if you were to look and take a step back, and if I go back into this configuration group, you'll see that we have two individual configuration details. This is almost like your templates if you've used Exact Forms Plus or Excel docs. Essentially what we're doing is we're targeting two tables, which is the employees table and the employee assets table. And we're saying that's on sheet 1 of your Excel sheet and sheet 2. So let's go take a look at how we're mapping them. So in the first one, the mapping, we have the employee ID. So we're using the column name. So you can clearly see that these are the names of the column headers. And then we're identifying the field ID numbers from that employees table that we want to be updating. So let's open up that Excel file so you can see employee ID, first name, last name, job title, phone number, salary, all down the line here. So we're just saying basically take all of those individual column names and update them there. Now they can be in any order you want. You do not need to have them in alphabetical order. However, if you do not know what the column names are going to be, but you know it's going to be in the same order every time, you may want to do it like this, which is by column letter. So you have A, B, C, D, E, and all the fields sequentially for the assets table. So essentially for this one, if you're looking at the employee assets sheet, we're taking A, B, C, D, and E, and we're bringing those in, and we're actually using F as our search field, which is what I'm going to mention next. One of the other pros of Easy File Importer is you're able to preserve relationships. So there's a clear relationship between the employees and employee assets. Another example of this may be companies and employees. So many times you have rows of data that need to be related to each other from your spreadsheet, but there's no unique identifier available. So without that specific key, you're going to have countless orphaned records. So for example, if I were to use company name as Juice Tech and I want to search any employee who has Juice Tech as their company, we can do that to relate those records. So that search feature allows you to make importing these records with company name instead of that Quickbase record ID. And that's really important, especially because if you're getting this information from an outside source, in all likelihood, they're not going to be providing you that record ID. Now, some of the other pieces of information that we've gotten from client feedback is we also capture error messaging, which is really important. A lot of times, Quickbase's import process may error out, and it does not provide you any error messages. This is also great for any audits that you might have. If you wanted to see what your source file was, you're always able to come back in here, and I can actually see all of the run details I have with the source file. So you're able to come back and find your golden source of truth. You're also able to set different permissions for all of these. So these are field level permissions, not app level permissions. So if you wanted to do an import to the let's say the employee assets table, you would have to make sure that that employee has permission to do the import, and that may be too many permissions for that individual end user. And also, in the grand scheme of things, you have the full ability to summarize all of your data from a dashboard. So you're able to do an import right from your dashboard. You don't have to go to that individual table. This can greatly expedite someone who has hundreds of imports a month and get you to your finished goal faster. Overall, Easy File Importer compared to the native Quickbase import, it's really important to understand that they're both great in many ways. But for anyone who's doing multiple imports per month and needs it to be mapped and it's not going to be consistent every time, Easy File Importer is going to be the tool for you. Now you can start a free trial of this today using the link in the description. And if you have any questions for us, we'd be more than happy to sit down and learn about your specific use case and possibly do this setup with you hand in hand. So please feel free to reach out to us at support@juicetech.com. Thanks so much, and we hope to talk to you soon.